My fellow Americans, tonight I speak to you as a neighbor speaks to another across the back fence, after a long day filled with news that touches both heart and mind. If you have wondered, is justice still fair in America? Is it possible to protect both truth and the wounded hearts of victims? Then you are not alone. Our country seems divided once again by another storm in Washington. Some say the law bends toward power. Others claim justice is finally being put right. No matter your side, I believe you love your country and want it to live up to her promise. Not all news is black and white. In these hours, we must draw closer, not shout across the room, but sit side by side and ask, what is the right thing for America and for her people? Let me set the table plainly. On February 11th, our Attorney General Pam Bondi came before Congress. The hearing was long, the mood tense. At issue, how the Department of Justice handled legal files about a very dark crime, the case of Jeffrey Epstein. Lawmakers from both parties pressed Bondi. Some accused her office of hiding too much, of letting secrets protect the powerful. Others said the department was doing its best, sharing millions of pages while shielding the names and pain of survivors. Picture a quiet hearing room in Washington, the marble columns rising up, lawmakers seated with files open wide, voices sharp but faces weary. Some wanted all the facts, even raw and painful ones, laid bare. Some feared that more exposure would mean new hurt for those already hunted by memory. As the hours passed, the arguments tangled. Democrats pressed hard, asking if information about survivors had been mishandled or redacted to save important reputations. Republicans raised praise for Bondi's push to focus DOJ on its core missions, crime and border enforcement. Tensions flared, but the questions remained. How much truth can be told, and at what price? How much can or should the law be shielded from politics or vice versa? Picture a late winter sky over the city, gray and cold, as staffers close their folders and wonder which story will be tomorrow's headline. My friends, these debates are not new. History has seen this before. We have argued in courtrooms, in town halls, in church basements, always seeking to balance the hot hunger for justice with the deep need for human mercy. But today, the news feels different for many. Faith in our Justice Department, one of the pillars of the Republic, seems to tremble. Some remember headlines about career lawyers forced out, about political foes investigated or not. Some point to Epstein's survivors, asking if their stories will be traded for another day's outrage or if their dignity will be protected at all. Think of a survivor in a small, quiet room. She stares at her name in print, worries what the next release may hold. Then think of a grandparent in a farm kitchen, reading the paper with eyebrows knit, asking whether he can trust the country's word. Each holds a small but important part of America's hope. What is the real choice before us? It is not merely whether one set of papers should be unsealed. It is not only whose side will win the shouting match. Rather, it is whether we protect both justice and the helpless, both sunlight and human decency, both the search for blame and the need to heal. When we quarrel over redacted files or weaponized justice, what we truly test is the strength and patience of our republic. The lesson of American history is this: power unfenced will always run wild, but law without mercy is a poor shelter. Let me share a simple story. Picture a school board in a small town. There's a dispute. A teacher has behaved wrongly. Some demand to know every detail. They believe sunlight can cleanse all wounds. Others say the hurt goes deeper. They want answers, yes, but also insist that children's names are never spoken on TV. In time, the community finds a path. Truth is faced, but the innocent are shielded. They remember that justice is for all, not just for the loudest or for the most powerful. Our duty as Americans now is like that. To demand answers, yes, but always to remember the faces behind the files, the survivors, the faithful public servants, the families trying to teach their children what is right. Picture a living room at dusk. A family sits in silence, the news on. A mother holds her child's hand as the anchor names yet another political fight in Washington. The child asks, Is it safe to tell the truth in America? The mother only nods, brushing away a tear. Not all wounds are visible. Sometimes the pain is what's left unsaid, the trust that is lost, the fears that settle in quiet places. Here is what I believe, and what I have learned over a lifetime in public service. The Republic can be saved. It does not fall because of one hearing, one headline, even one scandal. It falls, if ever, when ordinary people cease to care, or when we let bitterness poison every good thing. So let us refuse that path. Let us not shout down those who ask hard questions, nor dismiss those who seek mercy over blame. Instead, let us act as Americans always at their best, willing to look, to listen, to judge with care. The founders built this government upon a rock, that no single person or party should stand above the law, and that justice once sought must never become a mere tool of power. Think of the solemn courthouse steps at sunrise, a flag stiff in the breeze as citizens file in, some called as jurors, some as witnesses, all there to do their civic duty. Each person is different, but each matters. Now, the fact remains, Congress must be vigilant. They must oversee the Department of Justice, not as a weapon, but as a lamp. Lawmakers must insist that when secrets are kept, it is only to protect the truly vulnerable, not to shield those with influence or friends in high places. And when documents are open to the light, it must be done with care, never for spectacle, always with purpose. Visualize a group of survivor advocates at the edge of the mall, carrying signs, faces hopeful yet drawn. Near them, reporters with notepads, officials in crisp suits, cameras waiting. The story unfolding is not only in marble halls, it is in every kitchen, every classroom, every heart that aches for fairness. Like the hearings themselves, our search for the right path may take time. There will be mistakes made. Old fights will flare up. The news will remain noisy for a while. Yet the truth is this: Americans know how to move forward even when the clouds gather thickest. When justice comes slow, it moves best when guided, not by anger, but by patience and the courage to look each other in the eye. Imagine the long line outside a courthouse at daybreak, some clutching papers, some gathering only hope. Inside, officials do their work. Outside, the people watch and wonder, will this be the morning when justice and mercy find their place together? This is the question now facing our republic. In every age, we are tempted to rush to judgment or to hide what is hard to face. Yet America is at her best not when she chooses one or the other, but when she threads the narrow passage between. To keep our democracy healthy, we must defend two things at once: the right to know and the right to heal. Picture a school bus in the early morning rolling past fields still covered in frost. Inside, children whisper about the stories their parents heard last night, about courts, about secrets, about what makes a country fair. The teacher waits by the door, ready to greet each child. Her job, like ours, is to teach not only subjects but values, honesty, care for others, and faith that justice can be found even in tangled times. No nation, not even ours, finds a perfect balance. But we improve, generation by generation, each time we choose to lead with steadiness instead of spite. In the halls of Congress and in offices lit long past dark, men and women are wrestling with these questions: how to serve the public, how to protect the broken, how to call the powerful to account while never losing sight of the least among us. Think of the sheriff in a small county, handed a delicate case. He wants to bring wrongdoers into the light, but he knows that some facts, if printed in bold headlines, would bring fresh pain to the innocent. What does he do? He gathers his town council. Together, slowly, they sort through every detail, choosing what must be reported and what must not. There are no easy choices, just the humble work of doing what is right moment by moment. Our national debate over the Department of Justice is a larger version of that same task. Should all the facts be revealed? Should some be kept from view, not to shelter the mighty, but to guard the fragile hearts of those who cannot bear new wounds? The loudest voices will demand simple answers. But history warns us, simple answers often fail the hard problems of a free people. Picture a union hall in the old part of a factory town. The evening meal is over, and workers sit together as the union head reads aloud from the evening paper. Some shake their heads, tired of the drama in Washington. Others ask if the government can be trusted to protect both law and decency. The room is filled with different lives. Some have faced injustice, some have worn a badge or held a job in City Hall. But all agree on one thing: America must never lose her soul in pursuit of perfect order. In such moments, it helps to remember our own history. There have been times before when scandals rocked our faith in government. Watergate in the 1970s, Teapot Dome in the 1920s. Each time, the nation endured shouts and whispers, trials and headlines. In every such moment, the vital thing was not the event itself, but the response of regular people, those who kept asking, "Does justice serve us all or only a few?" America's strength is her unity. This does not mean silence or agreement on every point, but a deeper unity, a shared promise to seek the good, even when the road is rough. Imagine the long tables at a neighborly potluck after Sunday church. Pies are spread out, laughter echoes off the high ceiling, and someone raises the day's big question. Can we trust what we hear from those in charge? One by one, folks share their fears and their hopes. That is democracy. Not a parade of shouting, but a quilt of voices, each one counted, all stitched together by trust. So, what is our call tonight? We are summoned not to cynicism, but to careful attention. We must watch the news, yes, but more than that. We must keep speaking to each other, across fences and dinner tables. We must ask our lawmakers to pursue both truth and mercy, never trading one for the other. When the Department of Justice is tested, it tests us all. Governments are only as honest as the watchful eyes of those they serve. If Congress forgets to ask hard questions, secrecy can hide mistakes. If the public demands every secret, pain can double for the innocent. Our answer must be a constant balancing, renewed with each case and in every season. Think of a father working the night shift, driving home as dawn breaks. He passes empty ball fields and closed shops, thinking not only of bills to pay, but of the world his children will inherit. He asks himself, "Can I trust the law to be fair? When my family needs help, will someone answer?" These simple questions are the foundation stones of faith in a republic. We must not flinch from them. What then makes a citizen worthy of this land? It is not blind trust, but brave patience. It is not easy fury, but the steady work of reading, questioning, hoping, and, when needed, forgiving. Countries do not fall because people care too much. They fall when we harden our hearts, or when every debate becomes a reason to turn away. Visualize a weary nurse finishing her shift, standing on the front porch, listening to the evening call of birds. Her day has been long. She has seen pain, but also hope. A boy learning to walk again, an old friend comforted by kind words. She knows in her bones that healing never comes all at once. It is slow and full of uncertainty. So it is with the healing of public trust. We must each take up the job of mending the torn fabric of public faith. It is not enough to complain about Washington. It is not enough to wait for perfect leaders. The real work is local and personal, one word at a time, one act of decency after another. If you are a parent, teach your children that justice means fairness, never vengeance. If you serve in a civic group, remind your members that America's heart beats strongest when she answers to both truth and compassion. And if you are simply a watcher of the news, keep your standards high. Never trade decency for the quick thrill of blame. Picture the flag flying at dawn on the courthouse lawn, colors bright even against the heavy sky. It stands for more than any one scandal. It stands for each generation's renewal of trust, earned the hard way, by doing what is right when it would be simpler to do what is easy. In these times, some will tell you the Republic is dying. I disagree. The Republic can be saved. She is saved every time a citizen stands up for principle, for the rule of law, and for mercy towards the wounded. Let us take heart from the everyday heroes among us. The teacher who closes the classroom door to shield a fearful child, the neighbor who brings dinner to a family facing hard times, the clerk who refuses to let a mistake stand because that's not how we do things in this town. These small acts, repeated across 50 states, are what keep liberty strong. We are stewards of this republic, not its owners. The founders understood that self-government is always unfinished, a work of many hands, not of a single hero or even a single generation. With each new hearing, each headline, each anxious conversation at the corner store, we are asked to add a new stitch to the fabric of our shared country. So I ask you, my fellow Americans, to carry a question with you as the days ahead unfold. When you hear of struggle in Washington, when you read about pain and accusation, ask, how can I help turn down the fury? How can I insist on fairness? How can I lift up the quiet dignity that gives this country her greatness? There is no simple map for moments like these. Justice will sometimes stumble. Politics will threaten to crowd out principle. But if we keep our heads, if we treat each other with care, we will cross the hard ground together. Let me end with one more picture, one that belongs to all of us. See a town square on Independence Day, the morning cool and quiet before the crowds come. Flags hang from every post. The bandstand is empty, but soon will ring with music. Children dart beneath the trees, not yet thinking of news or politics, only of the games to come. In that quiet moment, before the speeches, before the fireworks, you can sense what America means. Hope still unwritten, a story still unfolding. Let that spirit guide us now. Let us be slow to anger, quick to help, and always mindful that those who suffer deserve not our spectacle, but our respect and protection. The Republic endures not because she is easy to keep, but because, together, we choose, again and again, to save her. Through steady eyes, with open hands, not with outrage, but with courage. Not by shouting, but by listening.